Hello, it's Amy with Paper Moon Journals, and this is part 2 of the tutorial for beginners. Let's make a small, chunky, grungy grimoire journal. I think it would make a nice book of shadows, too, if you were into Wicca or whatever. So here's our sample one. It's got a little pop-up card that I tucked in the front. That's a separate tutorial. I'll put a link in the description box to the tutorial where I showed how to make that. And then let's look at the pockets that I have in the sample one and see what I've done here. This one I inked in purple and used, I like that purple lace and everything. I think we should redo that effect on ours. Add the little tabs with the purple lace bows on them to add all that purple. So I didn't ink the page edges in purple. So what I did was I put a pocket in the center of each one of the signatures, and then it looks like I used some of these small ephemera to make pockets as well. Oh, and then I used those bottles as a tuck spot. That was cute. That hat is a tuck spot on top of the pockets. Pretty cute. If we have time, we can do a double tuck spot or triple tuck spot. Here's the waterfall. I might need to break this into 2 parts, this video. We'll see. We'll see what we can do. It looks like I made pockets out of some of the larger ephemera and then made this flip down over a pocket. We might want to do that as well. So this is a great way where you can take a project that's okay, like the project we had finished from part 1. It could be done and it's okay. I don't want okay. I want great. I want fabulous. So let me go and get this stuff cut out and come back. Okay, I'm back. And let's get ready for pockets. So what I did was I just cut a, I think that's a 4.5-inch piece of the 12-inch, and then just cut it into 2.5-inch pieces, and I was left 4 of those, and then a 5th piece that was only 2 inches wide. And that's the sheet I cut out to add larger ephemera. I haven't inked anything up. In hindsight, you know, I could have done that to help save some time. But let's get our pockets scored and ready to go. We'll have 5 pockets to add. We have 3 signatures, so that's room to add 1 to the middle of each signature, 1 inside the front or back cover. I think we'll put our pop-up inside one of the covers. And then also we can put 1, I like to do it like at the beginning of a signature, inside the front page of the signature or something like that. So we'll just look around for a nice spot for these. First, I score them on 3 sides at a 1/2 inch. And again, you can use your ruler and the back of a knife, something like that if you wanted. I'm not good at doing it that way. Lining it up against the edge of the board is my only hope to get these scored straight. And even then, if I don't hold it tight enough to the board, I might score it crooked. So see where the lines cross? We're going to cut that off. It's called mitering the corner. So we're going to miter the corner on all of our pockets, and then we can either use glue or I think double-sided tape will work well, both since my glue isn't over here, and then it'll make it easier to just peel and stick when we find a spot in the project for it. So let me get all of the little flaps covered with double-sided tape. I'll speed that up, and then we'll get to putting the pockets in the journal. Okay, now that we have double-sided tape, we're ready to put our pockets in. Again, I know I'll have one for inside the front or back cover. We could do both with the 5 pockets. That could be perfect. And you do it the way you like it. You don't have to follow along exactly where I put my pockets. You can personalize your project again by deciding where you want to put your pockets. If you're using double-sided tape or whatever you're using, you want to make sure you burnish it down really well. I'm just going to go to the center of each one of these signatures. It'll make it easy when I'm going to fill and decorate the pockets. I'll know just where they are, or at least 3 of them, and where to look for them. And if I do something in one signature, I like to follow along in the second signature. I'm going to double up the bow knot on these so that it doesn't come out. This one we already added the pocket or scrap from the piece on the spine. I did speed this up to twice actual speed of doing things. I move pretty slowly, so it doesn't even really look sped up. It just looks like I'm hurrying. It was over an hour of footage, and I thought, no way. That's just way too long. We're gonna have to speed this up. You can also use a pick tool to help pick the backing off of here. I have something I could use, but I didn't bring it over to the filming area. Let me double knot this bow as well. And then I think maybe I'll just put 2 pockets in this signature. But this is just inside the front page of this signature. I'll put the small pocket there. That one that was only 2 inches instead of 2.5 before we scored it. Okay, now that we have our pockets ready, let's look at our ephemera and let's pick out a few pieces that we want to reserve aside to make that waterfall. I'm going to pick 5 for the waterfall. I want this haunted house to be on top, but spoiler alert, I get them out of order when I'm putting them in and it does not end up on top. But let's clip those so I know that they're special for something, and then see if we want to save a couple to make pockets out of. So I think we want to cut out the little hat to make like the floating hat, and cut out the haunted house to make a haunted house. And then some of them will just glue down in the pocket shape. So let's cut this out. Fussy cut this out. If you notice, my left hand is steering or moving and turning the paper. And for the most part, my right hand is just opening and closing the scissors. It makes it much easier to cut these things out if you're steering the paper instead of directing the scissors. All right, let's make a couple more pockets. Let's add one next in the center, next to the other pockets. For this one, for the first signature, just gluing it in an L shape in the corner there, making a tuck spot. Now let's go to the next signature. And I like this page next to the moon. We'll make this hat that I cut out of one of the little tags or cards. Let's ink this up and put it inside. I'm using black. I think the purple looked really nice. Vintage photo, of course, looks good. That looks great on everything. That looks good in the tuck spot. And we'll go inside the second signature, just inside, like we did with that second black pocket that was in the signature. So we'll just create a tuck spot there. And yep, here, we'll do that here too. We'll put it on the right page this time. And let's see, do we want another one of these made into a pocket? Why don't we just decorate our black pockets and we'll use everything else inside the pockets? I pre-cut these pieces 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I cut 5 of those because I knew we had 5 pockets, not realizing that one of those pockets was smaller and it's not going to fit. I'm going to think I made a mistake. And as I like to do, I like to turn mistakes into an improvement to the project. So if something goes off plan, in this case, I think I cut the pocket to the wrong size right here. So I'm like, oh, that doesn't fit, and it's all covered. Oh no. And I think, did I just cut a bunch of them the wrong size? So it's covered with glue, so I'm just going to use it as a page edge decoration. Also, if the page had split, I'd maybe glue one of that over the edge. Okay. And then I realized, no, it's the right size. It was just that pocket. Silly. So I go on gluing the rest of them down that are the exact size that I cut. And then I think we just need to cut like a 1/2 inch. 3/8, something like that, off of the pocket. And then put that on the smaller one. And then these extra, I think I just had the book page and I ended up with more than 5. And so the extra pieces, to add cohesiveness as well, I'm just gonna glue to the page edge. This is a fun little, I call it scrap collage on the page edges. And I like to do this. You can add more like tiny little labels or numbers or whatever, or just put them on. I imagine a place where the page might split and need to be repaired, and then glue it there. And I try to use different spots so that they're not every one on the center right hand side of the right facing page. I try to do a combination of left and right pages, tops and bottoms. I want to use up all those scraps. Another tip here is, so you don't have to organize and store your scraps, is just use up everything you can and recycle anything you can't that isn't, like book page isn't really reusable per se. Okay, I went off and inked up all the ephemera, and I grabbed some leftover ephemera from another project. It's the Essentials. It's just a few pieces of the Essentials by Pixie Dust Files that I had. I think it's the first one that I had left over from another project. They help keep it from being a little bit too matchy-matchy when we're filling the pockets. And you notice it's a variety of sizes, and the things that we have are pretty much just 2 different sizes. The other thing that I'd like to add is a favorite of mine. These are both favorites for me to add to my projects, are these vintage neutral envelopes by My Porch Prints. It comes in both sizes, and it comes as a PDF with all the pages, so I can just send it in one big bunch to my printer and then go grab my stacks of freshly printed envelopes. And so I have 2 of the standard size and then 2 of the mini size. If you have envelopes of your own that you'd like to use, you can do that. I'm just going to grab a couple pieces of ephemera for these envelopes. These tiny ones are great for the little bitty ephemera that you get in ephemera packs. We just put a couple things in the envelopes before we add them to the journal, and then if we have extra stuff left over when we're done, we can go back and add more to the pockets. A lot of times everything. When I'm done, whatever's left over, I go back through I divide it up among the pockets and go back and fill them up. So let's put these pockets in as flip outs. These big ones, they're too big to do flip ups. So we just do line it up on the page and then glue it down. And then it flaps out. Put a couple pieces of ephemera in here. That's in the first signature. And then let's go to the second signature. Just look for a likely spot. Mostly for me, it's the tea stain pages are pretty blank. So I pick one of the tea stain pages towards the front of the signature. And then this one, let's make it a flip up. We'll need to glue it shut. If you're cautious, you might want to take the stuff out of the envelope first. This is how sometimes I get things glued in the envelope, because this is the way I craft. I'm like, oh, let's put this here now, and then let's put that there, and off I go. And then this one, let's just put inside the pocket. And we'll just take our little ephemera. It also looks nice with the corners rounded. I think I come back with the corner rounder later and round the corners on everything. Let's use this piece to decorate the front of the pocket. We can make it a little tuck spot. I forget I did that at all though, so we never get anything in there. This one's a little bit too tall. I just trim the border off of both sides and then re-ink that up. Let's see. The little ephemera there. Those tags. I don't like that just book page staring at me. Let's cut this one up into just the little crystals. Let's cut out the crystals and make a tuck spot on top of this pocket. I'm just going to put glue on the very bottom of that. Sorry, I did that off camera. Make a little tuck spot there and find something small, or make something small that fits in there. So this is how I normally work. I just sit with my little stack of ephemera and flip through looking for pockets that need things and add them to the pockets. and then I work in stages. So first I fill the pockets. Sometimes maybe the things aren't inked up yet, and I'll come back and ink them up later. And then this one we'll just glue down as a decoration, not a tuck spot. I have 2 of those Lowry's Bird Store pieces of ephemera, and they look too much alike, so I'm going to cut it down both to make it smaller and then so it doesn't look exactly the same as the other piece that we already used. We can cut off that piece of border from that piece and use it as trim on our pocket. Those pieces would have looked cute glued down to the collage, like a tiny little piece of that glued down on top of that book page. That scrap collage would have been so cute. I'm feeling a missed opportunity during the editing here. So I'm also cropping down the, I think it's maybe 3.5 by 4.5 inch size journaling card. It's too big for our pocket, and so, or actually it's probably 4 by 5 maybe. Anyways, too big for our pocket. So I crop it down. There's actually something in the pocket that's blocking my ability to get in there. So once I get the other stuff out, I have no problem getting her in the pocket. And we'll want to make a flip up or flip down or something with one of those as well. Let's crop her off and make her a pocket decoration. It's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's make it a flip up. So I just trim that more narrow and then fold down a 1/2 inch. And before it was fun having it over a pocket, so we'll just do the same thing again. I forgot to ink this one up. I don't think I inked up any of those. Whoops. It's a little curled. Let's curl that down. Maybe clip it down. We did that with the other one. We had it clipped down. Add a bow to that clip. And again, I'm cutting about 1 inch off the side and maybe 1.25 inches off the bottom. And again, like 1.5 inches off the bottom, 1 inch off the side. Ink it up. Add her to the envelope maybe? She's a little bit too wide. She's not gonna fit, but I'll put the other things in my hand in that pocket. I could make her another tuck spot, but then I'd need more stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna make her smaller. And then put her inside. Yeah. I think that's pretty good. The next thing that we need is we need a couple tags. I think last time I made 4 or 5 tags. I just want to use the scrap. It should be enough to make us 2 tags. It's 4.5 inch by 12 inch scrap. I'm just gluing it in half. So now we'll have a 6 inch piece, and I'll cut that into 2.5 inch tags. I like to use my tag top punch, so let me go get that. I don't have that over here. I'll have affiliate links to all the tools and supplies that I used in the description box, at least for the YouTube video, where it's easy to do all that. If I can for TikTok, I will also. I just learned that TikTok recently allows me to share in this orientation for TV viewing. And if I tell it that's what I'm doing when I share it, then if you're watching on your phone, then it allows you to rotate your screen and then you can still see it without it looking weird, which I think is cool. So I'm just eyeballing and tearing down this book page to mat it to make a couple tags. When I made the tags the first time, I used some of the ephemera I had printed out to decorate the tags, and I think they were maybe a little bit bigger because I wasn't using scraps. They started out as 6 inches tall, and then I just cropped them down because 6 inches would be too tall. So once I figured out what size I wanted, I used that as a template and laid it over the book page so that I could just cut out a second piece that size without measuring. Now we have our 2 little tags. And let me just grab some ephemera that we used and use that to decorate the tags, because we used it all up. I didn't leave any out for the tags, so trim that, so we'll just ink it up again. And we'll put a ribbon ties on here. And then I've got one with candles I think I can use for the other one. I don't know. Let's see what I pick. Oh, I think it's another image. Maybe another lady or something. I just go through and see if I can find a better one. I do realize that I'm out of frame. I wanted the tag to be in frame. So once I'm done with this, I think I move the ink up. I push the book up so that you can see better the book. And get that fixed. Here we go. Like, ugh. I crowded myself off the desk. Here we go. Tie it into a bow. You could also just do angle cuts at the top. You don't have to have a tag top punch. I love that thing though. If you watch many of my videos, you're probably tired of hearing about it. This is my cropadile. I like having just stuff in the pockets with bows. So I just kind of flip through here and make sure that in the pocket there's at least one thing with a bow on it in there. That looks nice. Again, the purple lace looked really nice. In the editing, I'm kind of wishing I had used purple for this. That's okay though, because I'll add tabs and then I'll put the purple on the tabs. This piece was too short for a bow, so I'm just gonna do the bunny ears. It's a little tall, but it's alright. I have more lace over here, and I looked everywhere. I couldn't find it. And then later, of course, I did find it. I knew I had more of that lace. But this will be fine. It's too fat to tie into a bow, and really just too fat for this project. So I cut it and tore it in half to make it a little bit thinner. It must be like 1 inch wide if you don't tear it down. There we go. Put it into a little bow. That's looking pretty good. I think we want to add some glitter to the cover. What else? Oh, we need to make our pull-activated waterfall. So let's ink these up. I didn't ink that up. And then I have this piece, I believe it's 2 inches wide. And I scored it at 1/2 inch 5 times, starting at the 2 inch mark. And you want to just glue each piece of your ephemera to the scores, skipping that bottom score. You don't want to do the very bottom one. And I think that I did. I think that I did glue it to the bottom one, because that's the mistake I make at least half the time I make these. I glue it too low, starting too low, and I'm like, oh no! After the second one, I start trying to rip it up, and then I realize I didn't. Fortunately, it's still kind of moist with glue, and I just push everything back down, and it works fine. And here I am like, oh no, I start trying to rip it up, and then I realize, oh, it's fine, it's fine. Just push everything back down. Yeah, you just have to keep that bottom one free. And I want it to be the light colored card, dark colored card, light, dark. And here's where I'm like, uh-oh. You know, to continue the pattern I wanted, that haunted house isn't going on top anymore. All right, so I'm just kind of holding it the way the mechanism will and showing how it'll work. And then just trim the excess off. I have this strap here, or the strip. You just wrap it around to get the size that we need. We want it to be loose so that things will pull freely. And that's wider than I want, so I cut it in half. And then we just glue the center part, the front half of the flap here. See how it's just on the front half? And then we just glue it shut. We don't want to glue it to this back half so that the back half pulls freely. And I usually use a fancy corner rounder, but I didn't have that over here. And a hole punch. And I start putting the lace through, and I realize this is going to be really fragile to tug on and everything, and that we should use our eyelets that are right here. So let me grab those, and we'll put an eyelet in here. Okay, I'm using my cropadile. There's more affordable eyelet setting tools that come with a ton of eyelets, and you can use that too. It's a slightly different size than the cropadile. Now we can put our lace through, and we'll be able to tug on this without worrying about ripping the paper there. That's nice. And then I left a spot inside the back cover for it. You can glue it in here. And then I better leave you all to go and glitter things. We'll start on the cover, and I'll glitter the cover with you. And then I'll go through and I'll just glitter the outside of every signature, at least. And then haphazardly in other places. Maybe the occasional tag. Maybe the haunted house tuck spot that's on the right in this video. Again, maybe the occasional tag or pocket. But definitely at least the outside of each of the signature. I'll add glitter to the different things there. That opalescent glitter is my favorite. It's like a chameleon that color changes to whatever you put it on. It's so nice. I know I do end up glittering up those crystals on top of that pocket. I recall doing that. And then this video is already at almost a half hour. So I'll also go through and add lace on top of, I'll edge the pockets with lace or rickrack in a couple different places. And then we'll come back and take a look at that. So here's my Stickles glitter, my chameleon glitter that I mentioned. It's actually most affordable if you get it in a 3-pack that comes with the silver and gold. And when Christmas comes, I'll be using the heck out of that silver and gold, so I'll have no problem. I think I also remember adding the Stickles glitter to the cat eyes. There we go. Just glitter up her and her outfit. I'll leave her here to dry, and then we'll come back and take a final look. All right, here it is with our inspiration piece. I'm out of die cut bats, but if you had the little bat die cut, here's what they look like from the tops and sides. I think I like the one inked in purple better than the black, but they both look nice. And then let's get a good look at this one. The one that we made together. I rotated that skull paperweight so that it's facing you now. You can see what it is. I filmed this after editing the other footage, so I noticed when I was editing the other footage I couldn't really see. I also used a bulb pin to add a charm and a bead to the cover. Here's the pop-up card in a box envelope, which is the tutorial that I made. It makes a approximately 4-inch square pop-up card, and then we made the box envelope to hold it. And then I added lace to this pocket. There's one of the tags that we made. A little envelope we put in there. I added glitter to the cat's eyes. And we'll just flip through here. I added glitter to the house and the stuff on the pocket. And then the outside of the signature, the bottles and hat, I added glitter to those. And then lace under the bottles. That looks so pretty, the glitter. I just think it makes it exciting. Oh, that moon. When you come to the glittery pages in that haunted house, I added glitter there. And that was just a scrap of the sorry silk trim that I had left over when I was making stuff. I glued that down in a couple spots. Our little flip out. And I glittered up those. And this one here and the candle on that one. There's our tag, our other tag that we made. Added some lace down there. I also added the tabs with the lavender lace. 6 tabs, 2 for each signature. Then our little flip up with a couple things tucked in there. And then our pull activated waterfall. Great little project. I hope you followed along and with me today and finished decorating yours and knocking it out of the park. I haven't come up with a title for this video, but I thought you don't even really need to do the part 1. This is just a great way to look at how to finish your journal, to take it from just okay to something kind of fabulous once you add all the pockets and ephemera and the waterfall, the pop-ups, some charms. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Please tag me in your project if you make something inspired by these videos. Thanks again.